Hello and welcome to Zelda Speedruns. Today we're pleased to bring you a Link to the Past All Dungeons Restricted Major Glitches Tournament. It is Losers Bracket Round 6. It is Eriror versus Doomtap, and I am joined on commentary by Ozdur and Dow TMB. How you doing today, gentlemen?
Doing pretty well.
Okay, and I'm going to set them off. So thank you both for doing commentary today, and I will talk to you later.
Yeah, so this should be an incredible race. We've got Eriror, the number 2 seed, who lost to Bwayne in the winner's semis, and Doomtap, number 4 seed, who lost to Andy in winner's quarters, and notably has since defeated Zelda in the losers bracket.
We're late enough in the bracket stage now where we're not really expecting any kind of disasters, but I mean, they can still happen. Big one to keep an eye out for is still going to be Palace of Darkness, because even though, Helmslord King is kind of the roadblock and could cost you, 2 to 3 minutes if you die, really just the whole split's difficult. And what we'll be expecting is basically who loses 20 seconds in spots and who doesn't is going to be the big difference, I think, here.
Yeah, like even if you don't have what might be considered a major disaster as far as like the calling the entire race early, you're still it's really hard to do, especially the Palace of Darkness segment cleanly.
Yeah, fortunately, the first couple of splits here are pretty easy to do. So it's not too much going on, really. I kind of expect Eri to take a little bit of an early lead here, but it'll be, 3 to 5 seconds or something like that. Not very significant.
Eriror is really consistent. He's very well known to be a very consistent player across any aspect of the game that he plays, and I think he can. Like Doomtap is very, very good, but I think Eri can pretty much make up time kind of wherever he wants to. I think he has the ability to do that, and I think in general he's more consistent, so he's less likely to make a mistake in a vacuum, I think.
Yeah, Eri has I don't know, something's crazy about his mindset where he can lose 6 minutes in a run and be like, oh, that's fine, and then just gold out the rest of the run. It's I don't understand how you do that.
So he has 50% finish rate in his attempts. That, I think that's a big part of it.
It's absurd. I finish 25% of my runs, and there's a lot of those runs where I look at my run and I'm just I don't understand why I finished this. The fact that Eri does that with 50% of his runs is kind of ridiculous. Also, his runs tend to be on pace a lot more than mine.
Yeah, it's not finishing a lot of runs that are +5, +6, +10 minutes, right?
Yeah, they're typically plus 30 seconds or something. It's this consistency is remarkable.
Yeah, so in his race against Bwayne, we saw what was it? We saw him make up 30, 40 seconds coming back from an early game deficit. He made up a lot of time in mid game over his PB even. Yeah.
Doomtap's PB is also really good too. 1:10:41. That's extremely good time. So it's not he doesn't have a chance here. He very much has a chance. Like I said, it's going to come down a lot to how mostly the clips, because in terms of, I really like to break down this category into 2 kind of sections. One is the gameplay that's really similar to RMG gameplay. And both of them are phenomenal runners at RMG. Area with a 123 something and Doom with a 124 something. I forget the numbers, but like they're both great. And the clipping portion is the other kind of section of this, so we don't get any of that in the first couple of segments here, which is why I expect Eri to take a short lead early. I actually don't know which one of them is better at the clipping segment. I've seen Doom pull off some absurdly fast clips before, but I've also seen Eri do it. So it's just like, who's going to do it more consistently and not mess up over the run?
For clipping, I think I would maybe give the edge to Doomtap, but I still might give consistency edge to Eri. I don't know. I'm pretty sure like Doomtap's going to do Citrus. I don't actually know for sure if Eri's going to do it.
I think everybody's doing Citrus except for me at this point in time. Although it's just one of those things. I don't know. It's like Citrus is one of those things where it saves 6 seconds if you get a first try. It saves like 2 if you get a second try, or like 2 to 4, just depending on how fast you can redo it. And it loses time otherwise. And in a race setting, like, are you gonna, take the risk or not, right?
Yeah.
Eri is, in my opinion, likely to go for it simply because he always wants to PP, right? He's always trying to do his best, and he, like, mentally will just always do the tricks, and he's not going to be put off by it. Doom, I think, does it as well. I think Doom doesn't care too much.
He might care in this matchup.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he's not going to get mentally rattled. I think he's kind of made a mention of, like, the tournament's gone on a little long, and so he's been looking forward to it ending.
Yeah, that just tends to happen, unfortunately, I think. By the time you get to the very top level like we're seeing here.
So yeah, Eri did get a small early lead in escape here. 2 seconds, that's nothing.
549 though, that's crazy to me. Doomtap got a 551, and 551 is like my best is ever is like a 550. I don't know how you get that consistently. Oh yeah, Doomtap does boomerang buffers for the Citrus clip. I forgot about that. So yeah, Eri's gonna do it. You see them both like facing right and going along this bottom wall, so they're both going to the clip spot. Oh, Eri's doing boomerang buffers. Cool.
That one was a pretty good clip. Doom's was excellent. This is the thing. When you get like really good at buffers and you get pretty comfortable with them, Citrus is also just nice. It's like kind of a warm-up into doing buffers there.
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
But yeah, it is definitely one of those things because the very last movement in it is a 1-frame movement, and getting kicked out on the last, if you go for 2 frames, you get kicked out and you have to do the whole thing over. So you lose a bunch of time if you mess up the last one. And this is a 60 FPS game, so getting a 1-frame movement in a 60 FPS game is not trivial, actually.
Yeah, there's a few parts of the Citrus clip where you can hold diagonal for consecutive frames and not get kicked out until you get to your next destination, and then you have to go left a bit. I think there's one diagonal that's 3 frames, and then there's one that's 5 frames. So if you do multiple frames at once, and if you don't make it all the way, you just kind of keep going. But if you go too far, then you get kicked out.
Yeah, I mean, they were both excellent. It's hard to do better than that.
I mean, sorry, people try to do the whole thing at once necessarily,
yeah.
But you have the option to jump ahead and not get punished for it.
Yeah, exactly.
But the last part of it is not forgiving.
Also, Doom has been going for manual starlight cancel on every staircase. I don't know why.
Is manual stairlight cancel where you try and face left or right?
Yeah, it's the same
at the end of manual.
It's the same as auto stair cancels. It's pretty free to go for in some places, like coming off these stairs here, since you want to be facing left anyway, coming out. And when we get boots, it's actually a little bit easier because you can just tap A, but it saves something like 4 to 8 frames. I forget the exact amount if you do it perfectly, and if you don't, it basically breaks even.
Yeah, so I've known that the stair drag cancels coming out of spiral staircases. I've known that's a thing for like 10 years, but I did not know that it was a thing on manual stairs until this year.
Yeah, it's pretty recent revelation. Uh-oh.
Cool. So, yeah, Ari's gonna have to... He had to get extra arrows, too. But really, what sucks is you have to wait for that Igor to go back to sleep and then wake up again. That's a lot of time.
Yeah, that's probably about a 10-second time loss on Ari's side. The rest of the dungeon was looking pretty good, and he had an excellent clip, too, so that's really frustrating.
He missed an arm burst, too, but he recovered incredibly well.
But yeah, that's probably... It's like, if you miss the red Igors, it's about 5 seconds. But then since he also needed arrows on top of that, that's like another 4 seconds.
I mean, is it really? Because, like, you get to soak up some of that time loss because you have to wait for the Igor to go back to sleep anyways.
That's true.
Not that bad.
But
you also aren't in range for it to wake up, so that, yeah.
Well, let's see, he finished plus, yeah, it was probably about a 10-second time loss or so. Hard to say exactly. I didn't notice it until late, but yeah, about 10 seconds. So here we're grabbing bombs. We are going to use these to clip into the wall a little bit later, because even though Link can clip into the wall, it's a little bit easier with bomb. You saw Doom tap A there to get the manual stair cancel. That was actually pretty recent. It's like it was found out when they did the 100% test, I think, and people started implementing it maybe like...
Okay, so if he went up to the Death Mountain ascent spot, he just did the diagonal walk, like around the slope, not even like trying to deal with dashing through the guard, but just like removing any possible RNG element for that.
That is a tiny bit slower. I think it's like, what, 15 frames? So it's not like it's the end of the world, but it is definitely one of those things where consistency matters a lot, especially in a race setting. So it makes sense to go for that.
Yeah, so they both had really clean Death Mountain ascents, and now they're going to turn in the old man, get the mirror, and then do the Kiki Yeet, the kind of screen ramp way of getting to this mini Moldrum cave a bit faster. I think it saves like 4 seconds.
Yeah, I think that's correct. Also, it's nice because you deal with a lot less boulder RNG unless you miss the spin speed. And then...
Yeah. Because you need the super speed state from the spin speed to clip through corners like that. And what is missing it like 1 second?
Between 1 and 2 seconds. Between 1 and 2 seconds every time you miss it. And then in the case of missing it there, you're also avoiding boulders. So you're, doing a lot of other stuff as well. But he makes up a lot of time in the mini Moldrum cave.
He got bullied. Eri got bullied by that one Moldrum a little bit, but killed it, and then it just wasn't a problem anymore. That can go very badly.
Yeah, the good thing is we didn't use up too many bombs there, or do too many extra attempts there.
Did they both use 2 bombs, I think? Or maybe Doomtap only used 1, but Eri grabbed the extra pot.
I think they both used... No, Eri used 2, I think.
I know Eri used 2, but they didn't say
Doom
Doomtap used 2.
Wait. Yeah.
It doesn't really matter that much, but
As long as we leave pod with 9 bombs, it's fine.
yeah, and pod is full of bombs. You can get them pretty much everywhere.
Yeah. Even still, bombs are kind of tight on this route. We're going to use a lot of bombs. So, although I suppose it wouldn't be a Zelda game if you didn't bomb everything.
Okay,
Yeah,
so he made him like that whole 10-second deficit plus a couple.
Yeah, I mean, that just goes to show, like, spin speed, we kind of don't really talk about it too much because basically we do it all the time. But it's also, a dream trick, and so pretty
We've
easy
got
to mess
hammer
up.
jump coming up too, which could be a time trade as well.
Yeah, a couple extra buffers here on Aries' side. Doesn't seem too happy with that. Doom. Okay.
Also a couple extra.
A little bit better though, I think. But yeah.
Yeah, so you have to get both the bomb and Link on different specific Y coordinates. So, and you have the crumbling bridge to worry about. So you want to pause buffer to make sure you get your placements in time.
Yeah, pretty much we are never going to expect the bridge to actually fall once you've done it enough, but it is easy to mess up the bomb placement or mess up Link's position and get screwed up that way. Nice arrow drop on Aries' side.
Yeah, you want that arrow drop to be in the center mimic. I don't actually know. Is it always going to be there, actually, since you save and quit?
Yeah, that's the first enemy that with arrows in the prize pack. So
well, it's 50-50 whether it actually drops. But that is the first enemy you kill on that pack, since you save and quit. So if you're going to get the drop, that's always going to be the arrow drop. I think that's what I'm getting at.
Yep. And then we are coming into pod basement here, which is one of the most kind of nerve-wracking part of the run. There's nothing too crazy going on here, but turtles don't like to behave. Almost hit Eri there. Doom had a pretty good room there. But then Helmsor King is difficult, and even if you do the fight well, RNG you get from this can vary like something like 8 seconds, just depending on the walk patterns you get from Helmsor.
Yeah, and that's not counting potential disasters, I think. Having Helma walk lower in the room is nice because you don't tend to bounce as far back. That was
Perfect
really
fight.
clean. Wow.
And pretty solid RNG.
Did Doomtap just go for like a swordless hammer hit in the last one?
He had iframes because he got hit, so he just walked into Helmsor and...
Oh, okay. Yeah, so like holding the sword out normally extends your hammer hitbox a bit, but yeah, with iframes you can just walk right in there, not have to worry, I suppose. I never thought about that.
Yeah, it is a little bit scary because if it's not the last hit, your iframes run out while the hammer is still coming down. So like you hit Helma and then you get hit. So you trade hits, which is obviously not ideal in this kind of scenario where you're coming in with 5 hearts and he does 2 hearts of damage, but for the last hit it doesn't matter so much.
Oh, okay, so you're guaranteed to take a hit in return unless it's the last hit.
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure.
Alright, well, we have a race coming out of pod, which is really good because this is usually a big point that tends to make it not a race. I mean, it's always a race unless you like...
Within 10 seconds of each other is fantastic stuff.
Yeah, it's always still a race unless you like hard lock on Ice Palace Mirror Wrap or something like that, but this is extremely close for how much potential there is to go wrong here.
I didn't see how quick Aries' clip was, but Doomtap third was excellent. That's hard to do faster than that.
Oh, the Moldorm's he blocked Doomtap's boomerang once.
My goodness. As if they weren't annoying enough with everything else they do. They also block the boomerang. It's like, who designed this enemy? And why?
So, like, although I'm too scrubby to go for the strat myself, I really appreciate the depth that is in the strat for boomeranging that key, because you like time it so that you like time the dash out so that you have enough reaction time to tell if to react if the Moldorm is going to block your key. But you try and make it out as fast as possible in the event that you do successfully grab the key.
So Doomtap went for kind of the same strat there as Eri, but he missed the boom dash, which required you have to boom dash and aim the boomerang, which requires 3 inputs on the same frame, which is very annoying. And he actually ended up hitting the switch without boom dashing, which meant he had to hit the switch again. And each time he hit the switch is like 20 frames or so. So he lost about 2/3 of a second by going for the strat and failing.
Yeah, that's like how to lose time in an auto-scroller, because the switch basically stops time when you hit it.
Really bomb jump is a great job from Eri.
Yeah, this is scary.
I know people do it a lot more in this category because
Oh, Doomtap's not doing it.
Okay. He recognized that he got a bunch of lag when he was going for the spin setup here, and so he actually didn't end up on the right pixel. So it's smart of him to not continue to go for it.
Yeah, that was incredibly good reaction. Getting a lot of lag there really, really sucks for the spin setup to get on that pixel.
It's true. He is on 1 health, so Moldorm, even though we saw Eri have a pretty darn good fight, and how the hammer kind of crushes Moldorm here, he can still behave rather erratically, as he just did on Doom's side. So, still have to be careful. Okay. Alright.
Big sigh of relief. This is not usually a segment that goes, like, super wrong for people.
Because it's so short. But yeah, it's true.
Okay, so Eri getting the Death Mountain descent. The spin speed of those stairs. It's a really good setup to just get your super speed off there.
Yeah, it's also nice because you can... Well, one reason why it's nice is because you can kind of charge your sword heading towards it, and so you don't really... You're never waiting on anything, really.
Yeah, that is nice.
Now, Thebes is pretty straightforward. How much health do we have? 7 hearts. I'm pretty sure both these guys skip Senkart and NMG, so this is almost exactly the same as it would normally be, aside from this first little bit getting into the dungeon. Thieves we typically expect to go pretty well for most players because of this.
Yeah, I think Doomtap died to Blind in his very first groups match in the tournament, but that's not something you expect to happen.
That's something where, like, you stop paying attention because you've done the fight a million times. And then something bad happens and you don't even realize it until after it's already happened. Great hellway from Eri.
I think like something specifically bad happened there. I can't remember the conditions.
Or sometimes because nobody ever really practices blind because it's the same every time, that you just kind of like forget what to do. Even though you know what to do. It's just like that moment of Like you're staring at something you've done a million times and just drawn a blank.
So, did Eriror get God Pixel? I saw Doomtap didn't get God Pixel in the hallway.
He did. He also got a lagless hallway, which is pretty rare too.
Oh wow. Yeah, Doomtap had to do like 2 or 3 separate segmented that.
Which, since he reacted pretty well, it doesn't actually lose that much time. Something like 2 seconds, but yeah.
So Eriror missed the Stalfos at the bomb. You have to kill all these enemies to get around the fact that we don't have a glove to lift that rock yet.
That Stalfos, I mean, the bomb strat's faster, but like sometimes that Stalfos does not behave. Kind of the way it works is that if it hits a wall or if it finishes its walk pattern, it'll change directions. And so because it's in such a tight corner down there, and basically the only way it can really go is up, it tends to go up most of the time, but not always, which is what we saw on Ares' side.
I see. Doomtap did hit it with the bomb, and it's like probably, I think, probably the biggest average time swing in this segment for runners like this is probably that room.
Definitely. Or dashing out of the attic too early, which neither of them did. Also, we skip trivia because neither of us are Anders. So if Anders has trivia in chat.
Something Lake of Ill Omen. That was a late last hit for Ari, but the rest of it was good.
Without beams here, you're aiming to kill blind right as comes back into the light.
Oh, Doomtap actually got. I think that second hit of the last phase was late for him, but he lost like a tiny bit of time on that fight actually.
Actually, I think the second phase or second hit on the third phase was too early, and so it didn't count. That's what it looked like. Really annoying. Yeah, because he just slashed and didn't hold out the sword, so it didn't keep the hitbox active or the hurtbox active.
All right, so now we're going to. They're actually separated by a pretty good amount of this crystal cutscene now.
Yeah, I honestly think most of that was in Hera. It's about a 28-second difference in Hera, and now it is about 27 seconds. So actually, Doom made up a little bit of time in that dungeon.
Yeah, that would make sense since Hera doesn't actually have a crystal cutscene. It's not as noticeable. So Eriror doing Frog Door. Gonna be able to press A at the right time, coming out of the mirror animation here, and talk to the frog without having to lift the rock. Doomtap going for like the early kind of frog talk. That strat was much more common like 10 years ago. Trying to talk to the frog from there and not from the rock next to it.
It saves like frames over what we typically do, but it's actually slower, I believe, than what Ari just did by also frames. I don't know the exact numbers. It's not significant. But the big thing there is that the way Doom did it had zero risk of getting messed up at all. And the way Ari did it has some small risk. I can't give you a number because it kind of depends on the runner.
It's the risk is basically like don't be dumb as far as I know.
Yeah, it's a pretty wide window. It's like 17 frames or something that you can press A and it'll actually save time on. We're pretty used to doing things in like a 2-frame window, so 17 frames is kind of massive.
Okay, so they both got Tempered Sword now. Eriror getting the famed fence dash towards the sea house. Getting on the right pixel for that dash coming out of the screen transition is frame perfect. It's a frame perfect movement into a pixel perfect position.
It's also a good warm up for later in the run, since it requires pressing a direction and the A button at the same time. Later in the run, we're going to press a direction and the Y button on the same frame quite a bit. So Eri looks up. Doom bailed out. So maybe, who knows? Honestly, because it's frame perfect like that, to like press two buttons at the same time, it's hard to look too much into whether it actually is like consistent or not.
It's basically like an item dash, but with a D-pad input instead.
Yeah, so it can be a little bit different. If you choose to do it with one hand, which I know that a lot of people do mirror apps with one hand, then it's almost the same thing as an item dash. Like, just your hand gets a little bit more spread out. Or
it's like a combination of. Sorry, it's like a cross between an item dash and a dash buffer.
Yeah, it's a little weird, but also not that bad. But then, like, yeah, I think they both do one-handed mirror app. If you do two-handed, then you're just kind of having to hope your hands are in sync.
Yeah, so that dash that Eri does towards that key pot and skull, it's you want to stay like on the grid for that dash, because it gives you the maximum amount of frames to be able to turn and walk up without hitting the spike.
I believe it's 3. You can just hit up 3-frame window, and if you're off the grid, then it's like a 2-frame window.
Yeah, pretty much. It actually just like it changed my life when I realized that that's how you are supposed to do that. I used to always be too scared.
Are you trying to save every single frame in the game? Actually started moving up a little bit too soon and missed the key.
Okay, now he's setting up for the moth fight. Was that a double? Oh, okay, apparently it was a double hit.
Moth is such a stupid boss that we never even know. We're like, was that a double? I guess we'll find out.
I can never tell until... Sometimes I can tell, but it's like 50%.
Sometimes you get like really clear audio of like Moth getting hit twice, but a lot of times you don't. And so you don't really know.
Yeah, and it's partly luck based too. I think that was definitely a double hit on Doomtap.
Yeah. His second slash after the dash there hit Moth was a little bit too early, hit Moth into the spikes.
Yeah, so the double hit did help him out, because otherwise you would have had yet an extra hit. So like, he got 2, and then a blank, and then 3 and 4.
Yeah, and then once you get that, like, if you miss that, the 4 starts moving, the spikes start coming, and then Moth starts firing, and it goes downhill fast.
Yeah, so it's super good that they both managed to take Moth out before any of the spikes started moving. So that time loss just compounds, usually. So,
great clip from Yuri.
Yeah, I'm just going to assume that he did the earlier hair clip.
He did, yes.
Just as well. I mean, just as well. But spin speed off the stairs into walking to Ether Medallion, not getting blocked by Katy Perry. Oh, getting blocked this time. Oh, that's so bad. Okay, so the Dead Rock is in like pretty much the exact position that it has to be the block, like the whole like two tile wide pathway there. And especially since like the bottom of it is a cliff that doesn't have like a railing, you can usually walk around it on the bottom, but its Dead Rock position was just so bad that you couldn't even do that.
And you don't really want to try, because if you just try like start walking near a cliff like that, you might fall off.
I just let go of down. I I make sure I don't hold down for like more
you
than
can
20
definitely
frames.
do that.
That's all.
Yeah, you actually do have to hold down for like 20 frames or so, but it's still just always like you end up near a cliff like that, and you kind of are in like the back of your mind. You're thinking, "Don't jump down! Don't jump down!"
So the rest of it went cleanly for both of them. Dead rocks are another place you can get huge trades in this.
Yeah, if you have to wait out the dead rock, it's like 12 seconds or something of time loss. Eri was able to dash to the left and kind of despawn the dead rock, so it only cost him like maybe 6 seconds instead, but that's still pretty significant.
Okay, so now that they've got flippers, they're going to go into the Dark World towards the Mire area and do combo Mire and Desert. But first they have to get out of this little area, and the fastest way to do that is with the bomb clip here.
Oof, the bomber tried to ruin Eri's day, but it did not.
The bomber bat makes the clips very volatile. You can take a lot of damage, and if you get really unlucky, you can just straight up die on that segment at least like 20 seconds. Maybe more than that.
Yeah, it is the fastest strat. Kind of depends on the bomber though, but optimally it's the fastest strat, and Doom got it, did great there. He went for a slightly different setup to dash into the bomb. I don't know exactly how dashing into the bombs works, but clipping into walls like that is occasionally sub-pixel dependent, so getting a slope dash like that might matter. He might have a specific setup that he does there.
I feel like with slope dashes, it's very likely to matter.
I know he did. I think he mentioned that Chex Human had a setup for that, so I'm sure that it's like walk into a specific pixel with a diagonal motion or something, and then your subpixel will be set correct. Like walking into a corner or something will always set your subpixel the same.
Oh, Desert 2 spin speed. Using that menu buffer really effectively to know when to time your holding upright instead of down.
Yeah, and that does save about a second or so. We care about that. I mentioned before we had some strats that were saving frames. Yeah, a second is a lot of frames, so definitely not going to pass those up.
Yeah, but you lose a minute if you jump off the edge, which super speed state means that you auto jump off of ledges when you touch them instead of having to hold the direction for 20 frames.
There is bomb clip to get back up, so you'd only lose like 15 seconds, but...
Oh, is there? Okay.
Yeah, it's a weird bomb clip.
Oh, yeah, because you can do that on... You can do that on, like, upward ledges, right? Like ledges in, like, the top corners, I guess. I don't know.
It's the same principle as the bomb clip we used to get out of that Dark World zone that we started in at this split, where it's like an upward slope, so you have to kind of do something specific. You have to set the bomb on a specific pixel, and then also have the right subpixel, I'm pretty sure.
I think that's a clip that very few people are going to know how to do if they end up in that situation. But maybe.
Great one cycle from both of them. Like, yeah, you got good patterns, but even still, you don't have any extra rod shots here, and you do have to react.
It's still a much easier fight to do optimally than in other categories where you don't have the fire rod. Oh, Eri was a 2-cycle. Yeah, that can just... sometimes you get bad patterns and you just literally can't land all your shots in time.
Yeah, very true. Or you just decide you're not going to go for one, because like if the first one jumps left, there's no point in chasing it, because then you probably won't get the other. So...
Okay, so decent Mire 2 from Eri. I don't think he went for Fast Mire 2. Fast Mire 2 is like where you hit the bottom popo early, right?
Yeah, I don't know who exactly goes for that. That's a pretty hard strat to pull off, but it is a little bit faster and more consistent if you can do it.
Neither of them did it, but the last popo wasn't in a very bad, like the bottom popo didn't end up in a very bad spot at the end of it for either of them. And that's the big kind of swing of not doing Fast Mire 2, is that you leave that bottom popo alive and it can end up in some really bad spots.
Eri is setting up for the bomb jump here. We'll see what Doom decides to do. This is definitely a split where, you know, you can lose 20 seconds just due to the clip. So we will definitely see how these go. I know Eri also has been doing... Doom is also setting up for the bomb jump here. Okay. So
yeah, they're skipping that Bari key for later, which is fastest to do if you're doing this bomb jump. Oh, maybe. Oh no, I don't know the setup because I'm not very familiar with it. So
okay.
I saw him bonk off that, and I was just like, oh, he's not going for it.
It's like you bonk, and then you do a 1 frame move to the left, and then you have to get spin speed state while the bomb's taking down. I suppose you don't have to do it while the bomb's taking down, but it'd be a lot slower otherwise.
Yeah.
But I think Eri missed the spin speed state there, realized it, and just decided not to keep going for it.
He bailed out of it like so quickly, just like cut his loss instantly. And I think decisions like that are what make him, or part of what makes him a really good player.
And with Doom there, so the only downside is that they've both wasted a bomb for essentially no reason now.
It's like that whole thing is like a 6-second time saver. Anyways.
Yeah, and then we have another clip coming up here on Eri's side when we go into Swamp. I think he's been practicing sword buffers here because he wants to keep beams for... Oh no,
he's setting up the bomb. So I think he's gonna get it just fine here. Yeah, okay. But there's so many ways that this particular clip can go wrong. There's a lot of different pixels that you can end up on when you do the bomb clip, and there's a lot of adjustments that you have to keep in mind to make sure that you end up on the correct pixel to go through the wall after.
Yeah, neither of them going for sword buffers here. I think that's fair. Sword buffers are faster, but much more difficult and much more likely to fail. And I guess in a race setting like this, you don't, especially if you like just missed the bomb jump, right? Where you're like, maybe have that at the back of your mind as well. Also, that was a great strat from Eri to get the heart drop, which lets him do the rest of Mire 2 faster. I believe that was a duck strat.
Oh yeah, so now it's basically like as if he had done the sword clip anyways, minus the bomb.
Eri's bomb count is fine, I believe. Doom's is a little on the low side.
He missed that was rope. Didn't get a clean Mire 2. So you definitely lost some time there as well.
And then we do have 2 more things left in this dungeon still, as if they didn't have enough silly stuff going on. Eri's going to void this block here, throw it into the void, and going to set up for some spooky action. It involves a fire rod dash, more 2 buttons on the same frame, at a specific time to kind of get this for us. Not hard, per se, but if you miss it, you actually lose a good chunk of time. Yeah,
you have to get this fire rod to specifically hit when the anti-fairy is there, because it has to hit that X position to be displaced upwards to where the switch is, and he gets it. So like, you can also get frame ruled on that anti-fairy hit, and it cannot work just because games like screw you.
Yeah, pretty much. And then we do have Vitreous here, which I expect both runners to handle very capably. But sometimes things get a little scary. Great Spooky on Doom's side.
I think he dashed up higher than Eri did.
Because, well, when I do the dash, I'm kind of just waiting for the switch to click, right? So, since that also operates on a frame rule, I'm pretty sure you can get like a few extra frames of dashing.
I think you just have to scroll the screen upward, like, at all. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that might have been it. Doomtap gets 0 cycle Vitreous. I wasn't paying attention. Did Eriror get it?
You got a 1 cycle. So that's about a 3-second difference right there between a 0 cycle and a 1 cycle. But yeah, we are in kind of the gauntlet here of tricks until we get to GT. Swamp has a pretty tough
is Doomtap gonna do his stupid like mirror wrap thing out of Mire exit?
I don't know. That's a little scary. But maybe.
So I think they're both going for a fast Mire exit where you have to beat that Ku's fireball to not lose time over the safe exit. Eri gets it like really quickly.
Extra moment, his menu was a little long, but that's because he was adjusting his grip on his controller so that he could actually do the clip pretty easily.
Yeah, with dash buffers, you hold your controller sideways basically so that you can one-hand the inputs. Doomtap with a very good Mire exit as well.
Yeah, there is a mirror wrap out of Mire. It saves like no time over the teleport, or maybe like 1 second. It's not much.
It's cool though.
It is cool, but that's just what this run needs: is more places for it to get blown up.
If you fail it, I think you just jump down like normal. You're fine.
I actually don't know enough about it to say, but I am bad enough at the regular mirror wraps that I can't imagine wanting to put in more. Now we have a pretty easy trick coming up here on Eri's side, called Diver Down. We're basically just gonna, use the Samaria block to clip into the rail here, and then jump into the water. However, as easy as it is, it does require 1 frame movement again, so pretty easy to mess up.
So he did a good job not, holding the sword out long enough that it caused him to spin. And that's a big kind of, at this high level, it's a big time waster potentially for that trick as well.
Spins 30 frames where you're not moving. That's quite a lot of distance you can cover in 30 frames.
So Doomtap got his full charge of the sword, so he had to dash out of the room instead, which is a bit slower. Because dashing is a good alternative, another good way of getting rid of that spin.
Okay. Missed the 0 cycle. That's about a 6-second, or I guess you don't save the 6 seconds. I don't know, best way to describe it. You got kind of a bad walk pattern, but also messed up a little bit. And then, Argus is a silly ball. So Doom has a chance to make up time here if he does get the 0 cycle, which is unlikely unless he gets really slow walk patterns here. Not slow enough.
Is that because he dropped his sword at the start of the fight?
Yeah, he had to reslash and everything else. He just probably didn't have enough time. As it is, you kind of depend on Argus walk patterns. He has something like 48 different patterns, and he can do 3 of them. And he does 3 of them, rather. So it's a lot of different combinations. the only ones that you can't get 0 cycle on are like the 3 fastest walk patterns, and you get like 2 of those in a row or something.
Okay, that's actually like more RNG dependent than I thought.
It's something like you can get it like 95% of the time or something like that, but it's just also mechanically difficult.
So we're coming on the Ice Palace mirror app. Just pray that nobody loses their run here. I think Eriror was very, very close to walking too high and getting the hard lock, but it's really close, but he got it. So in Ice Palace, that saves like 6 seconds, I guess.
I believe that's correct, about 6 seconds, especially when you do it very quick like that. Eri does second lead right first now.
How many seconds did you say?
About 30 seconds, I think.
Okay, so Doomtap gets the mirror at first try as well. And
Out mirror app, that's a new one. And great icebreaker from Eri there. I'm not sure, is this the right pixel for Doom? Looked a little far left. Nope, he knows better than I do. Great job.
Yeah, so if they didn't hit left and mirror at the same time, then you lose like 5 to 10 seconds, depending on what exactly you did wrong.
I think in that particular instance, they would lose about 8 since you don't instantly come back. And if you get the instant comeback, you lose about 4.5 or so.
Crazy fast Ice Palace, though. Just blink and you miss it.
Yeah, Ares was great. Doom's has been great. Lonely Firebar here is actually mechanically one of the most difficult rooms in the game. Doom does it perfectly. And that's about as good as Cold Stare can go.
So, is that single poke dash and double spin?
Mm-hmm.
The poke dash cold stare strats, they're pretty nuanced, but if you're good with them, then you can really reliably keep them in the corner with your double spin afterwards.
That was okay. Yeah, a little bit weird the way he got charged by the 3 puffs and from where he releases double spin, but they did all get hit twice by the spin on Doom's side, so that's pretty.
Yeah, so Cold Stare can each of the puffs can they usually move diagonally like bishops, but sometimes they can just decide to break the rules and beeline at Link, and they'll be faster than normal, and 2, that's the only time that they can move in another direction. They'll move directly at Link, so I think there's probably some cases where it can. I think that was a really good swim from Eri. That's like I think people like to really pay attention to in this category. It's that swim from Ice Palace to the shore there is like impossible.
So honestly, Doomtap only did one thing wrong in Ice Palace, and that was he took like 2 tries to get the hook speed into the mirror wrap there, and it cost him a few seconds compared to Ares. Both of those Ice Palaces were blazing fast.
Yeah, they both saved time on their Phoebes. Doom saved like 6 seconds, Ares saved 3.
Ares is currently ahead by about 35 seconds, which is pretty sizable lead. There's still a few places where you can lose a bunch of time due to messed up inputs, and there's still 2 places left in the run where you can lose time and it's not your fault.
Yeah, so mirror at for Turtle Rock. The clip upwards and like doing the half circle backs, that's a bit scary, but the mirror app setup that we have here is because you mirror bonk immediately if you accidentally mirror too early. The failure condition for it is not as bad.
Yeah, it'll instantly send you back. So it's one of those fast failures. It's only like 4.5 seconds or so, as opposed to normally it's about 8 seconds if you have to mirror back.
It's just if you don't do the snaps in this clip correctly and you snap to the wrong place, you're stuck and you lose like a minute because you have to save and go to the mountain again and go through, like go all the way to the portal. It's a really good job, both of them, getting that without any issues.
Doom's clip up to the spot was not the fastest, but his mirror rep was excellent. Ares was just fantastic on both counts.
Nice walk behind the laser. It's really good to, you don't have to get this key on the laser bridge on first trip, but I think it's a really good idea too, because you can use the fact that you have to hit that beetle to kind of time the laser skip for you.
He gets to dash out. That RNG that he got is the fastest RNG by a not insignificant amount, but is also the hardest RNG by a lot.
I'm glad you know enough to comment on that. I noticed the key dash, and that was about it. I don't know what I'm doing in that room besides that.
It's something like, oh, a little high for the block there. It's something like 30 frames faster over the next fastest. It's a lot.
Fairy out of reach. The fairy doesn't matter in this category, though. It really doesn't.
It'd be nice if you can get it because you'll save reveal frames, but you're not scared to die. At least I don't think they are. Shouldn't be. Okay, so Doomtap started his dash a little low there, and if he had kept that dash going, he would have gotten hit by the laser 100%.
Seen races in this tourney where runners died to try and X. Oh, that's because you did something else wrong. That's a whole another thing. You're not supposed to get hit in this fight, right?
No. I mean, theoretically, you shouldn't get hit, and you only even have one attack to avoid. Otherwise, you should kill Trinex so fast that it doesn't matter.
This like, it's a scary fight, but it's a really consistent one, in my opinion.
It's only scary if you mess up. Because, like, if you miss a slash on the ice head or something, and all of a sudden ice is on the floor, or you miscount how many times you hit the fire head, and then now they're kind of just, the heads are free roaming, it's tough. But for the double spin here on Trinex, most runners have a specific spot that they stand, whatever they're most comfortable with, that gives you a really consistent lineup. So you always get the double hit, and you can slash before getting hit.
Well, I think Ares ahead of his PB now.
yeah, that's kind of nuts. But unfortunately, we do still have RNG to contend with.
109. 109.
So if he's taking the old man refill here, this costs about 5 seconds. But I'm pretty sure Ares Gold GT got the refill anyway. I think it did. Yeah, it's a pretty silly. Oh, a little bit of difficulty here. Okay. Getting into GT is actually not too hard, but you have to do it blind. So you have to memorize the layout of the room and understand what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, you can just go into Hera and then come back out and not be blind, but that's like 10 seconds slower.
Yeah, it's a lot slower. You would only do that if you have to get a bomb. And even then, you probably wouldn't do it. Because there is an...
Oh, spike skip? Nice spike skip.
Oh. Gets the bad skeleton RNG there, and you like try to slash the skeleton and the switch at the same time sometimes, and it doesn't happen. Or like you slash twice and then try not to hit the switch. I don't know. There's a lot going on. It's easy to mess up.
This is like such a good race around. it's such a good run in general, though. Like, holy crap. Doomtap is like 20 seconds behind his own PB, which is 110.41. But Aries pushing sub 110. I don't necessarily expect him to like end up pulling it out because race and Aghanim RNG well, but it's the fact that they are where they are is.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is that because all the RNG is at the end, we hate to say anything like this, but you could see up to a 2-minute swing. Realistically, the biggest we would expect to see is about a 1-minute swing, just due to RNG, which is really irritating.
Yeah, we're actually like about a minute apart here, pretty close to it.
Yeah, mostly a lot of that was in Turtle Rock, where Doom lost a bunch of time just to a little bit slower clips, a little bit worse swimming, that kind of thing. Inside of the dungeon, they were both pretty good. Doom had a slightly worse, Pokemon.
Yeah, and it's like I feel like he didn't even like get a bad segment for it. Maybe he did, maybe for his standards, but it's not like terrible. But Eri was pushing like a sub 5 Turtle Rock segment, like he said. I think is this Turtle Rock segment the world record, or did Zelda take it?
I don't know who has world record in it. I think a few people are right at about 5 minutes.
I think somebody in chat probably knows.
If that had been sub 5, it would have been the first.
Yeah, his snaps on the clip were insanely fast.
So Eri just had a 3:37 on his segment timer gauntlet enter after losing 5 seconds to Old Man Hearts. That's kind of silly.
Well, his dash in Gauntlet 1 didn't kill the Red Zazak, so I don't know.
This is definitely on pace for something like right around 7 flat GT, which would be phenomenal. Although, maybe not with that Gauntlet 5. That's a pretty tough room, especially if you don't switch to Fire Rod. She's going to do right here so we can read the Lamo RNG, which is good because it's tough to read them when you have the shooter to contend with as well.
I thought that like Medusa hit was gonna knock him away from hitting that last Fire Rod shot, but he still got it.
And also, the reason why he doesn't want to use a Fire Rod shot is so he can avoid picking up a pot in Torches 1, which saves like 20 frames or something. So, a little bit
just like totally skip that last pot, right?
You just skipped a pot. However, in this case, as much trouble as he had in Gauntlet 5, it probably would have been worth it to menu to Fire Rod. I don't know. Maybe he would have missed Lamo 1 or Lamo 2. It's hard to say for certain.
Yeah, like you just... It's really good to just keep running the strats that you're used to, even if there's technically like a safer option. Because maybe you're not used to the safer option or whatever.
Yeah, especially if you haven't practiced the safer option.
Okay, just walking on spikes to save like what, 10 frames, getting that key.
That key actually saves quite a bit of time. It's over a full second.
Oh yeah, never mind. He's getting the Halva key. I'm silly. I was thinking it only saves that small amount of time if you're not getting Halva key and you're getting a different key instead.
And we can see, the refill was probably worth it for Aries' side. He took 7 hearts in GT. You only start the segment with 8, so he'd be walking into this room with 1 heart. Or he would have played the whole dungeon totally differently, and maybe he's 10 seconds slower than he did it just now. So even though, it's about 5 seconds for Old Man Hearts, sometimes it just changes the way you play to have full hearts versus not full hearts.
Did he do the... whatchamacallit, the lower damage strat on the spike 4, or no?
No, he did not. He walked him, so we did the normal strat.
You're generally not doing both the lower damage strat and the old man refill.
Agam 2 is a dumb boss. I don't see how that wasn't a 3-cycle.
Moldorf is being a dumb boss for Doomtap, so probably evens out.
So yeah, if Doomtap does get a 2-cycle here, you can save a good chunk of time here. Ares GT was still phenomenal in the low 7s.
Yeah, like losing 15-20 seconds in GT is like
Expected.
It's a much higher like caliber GT to what am I trying to say? It means way more about your run if you lost that amount of time anywhere else than in GT.
Yeah, pretty much. If you only lose 15 seconds in GT, you're like, hey, that wasn't bad. Doom also getting a 4-cycle. He didn't handle the RNG quite as well. The patterns weren't great on his side. And then Aghanim also gave him a blue ball. It's just annoying to deal with.
Harry didn't kill that guard because his sword beam got in the way.
The beams are so bad. It's a joke how bad they are. He did get the fairy drop, so if he gets the full magic drop in about 2 rooms, then he will save like a full second on the refill after Aghanim.
Doomtap missed the second ball in chain guard with his spin that had to slash it twice.
Didn't get the drop, so unfortunately the fairy did nothing.
See, you want the full magic to be on the red spear thrower that's in your way, right?
Yeah, because then like you get the refill and you don't lose any time picking it up, or you lose like 10 frames waiting for it or something. It's not significant.
Is that why you dash to nudge the door that obscenely? Because that's like a crazy.
You would wait for the drop. And unfortunately, we are now entering the RMG portion of the run, where nothing that we do matters anymore. And we hope we did something. I suppose I shouldn't say nothing, but yeah.
Technically, everything you do matters, but you just don't know how it matters.
Very true. Doom gets the drop, but doesn't pick it up. Since he's missing the health anyway, it doesn't really matter in his case. He'd be waiting on the health refill. So actually another advantage of doing Helmet Key, like Eri did, is that you have a chance to get the full magic drop from the couple of spear guards in the 3rd room of Agate Tower. So you have more chances at the drop.
I thought save and quit reset the prize packs, or is that just a hard reset? I might have been wrong about that earlier.
You have to get the hard drop from the mini Helmas, and then you have to get both drops from the guards in the 3rd room of Agate Tower in order for it to happen. So it's a 1 in 8 chance of it happening.
Okay, so it would only reset if you hard reset the game, I guess.
Yeah, after GT, which we're not going to do because it'd be a lot slower.
Oh, after GT, you were talking about. Sorry, why did I think you were talking about like pod stuff?
Because we're so conditioned with the way it is done in NMG. But I think there was only one on Ares' side, which is fantastic.
For him.
I think that means he's going to need good cannon luck to PB still, but regardless, this is a fantastic run, capped with good RNG. Big fan. You'll love to see it.
I don't think he can PB at this point.
He can't, no. Unfortunately. Even if he got the greatest Ganon we've ever seen, he would be a couple seconds away from PBing.
This might be on pace for best tournament time, though. I don't actually remember what it currently is. Unless Zelda got a 109 or something, but I think he's just had a bunch of 110s. And was that one for Doomtap?
I think it was one for Doom as well.
I think this is at least too large of a gap to like feel super bad about not getting the RNG that you needed to pull out the win for him, but you know.
I imagine Doomtap. It looks like it was 2 for Doomtap actually. 2 early spins, gets torch glitch. Great job from Mary. I suppose missing torch glitch is about a 40-second time loss. Gets
Nice cape spin.
This is a fantastic Ganon fight, assuming we miss no more spins.
Yeah, so if you light the torch to make him turn solid, and like you interrupt him, then he's in the state where you can freeze him, and the only way that you're going to actually do a damage spin to him is if you do the spin on the very last frame, like the very first frame that he starts teleporting.
You can't do Ganon better than that. Fantastic run. Yeah, get your G's in chat for Eri. Runs don't get better than that. Nice far fire rod shot to get torch glitch on Doom's side, and Ganon lined up on triples. So unfortunately we won't see any cape spins because there's no reason. But hopefully we can see Doomtap close out this run with another excellent Ganon as well.
Yeah, so that was a 110-22 in SRL for Eriror.
Looks like Doom's going to be just about 1 minute behind. Get your GGs in chat for Doom, excuse me. Also a fantastic run.
Alright, and Doomtap finishes with a 111-22, which is exactly a minute off, and they were pretty much a minute off after Turtle Rock, so kept up that pace ever since then. So I want to see if Doomtap gets in here, because let's see if like we have them both in here at the same time. But
I think that's unlikely due to his internet, but we'll see.
okay. That's fair, actually. We do have Eri here, though. Huge congrats. Making it to, what is it? Losers Finals, I think.
Losers.
Yeah, I think this is Losers. Yeah, this. I
think it's
never
Losers
mind. Never
semis.
mind.
Whatever. Top
Whatever.
4. How does that feel, Eri?
That was an insane run.
Yeah, I'm not too unhappy. Of course, I was slop all over the place, but that's AD, right? And nerves. Because it's one thing if you're running and you need to catch up and you're way behind anyway. And there's one thing when you're actually having a solid run, but you still know that your opponent is right on your heels and you can't really afford to make mistakes. So I'm happy that I just kept it up and actually like put on the turbo after Swamp. That was
I just want to say, Eri's probably the only person in the world that would finish plus 17 over their PB, was 15 seconds to RNG, and say that there was slop ever.
yeah, I mean, it started in Eastern. Double readies, man.
That's true. That was actually like 8 seconds or something. 8 to 10 I don't know.
I think it was 9. I think it was 9 because I went all the way back to get arrows because otherwise we'd have to get them in pod anyway. I would lose more time.
Yeah, any other thoughts? You're going to be playing the winner of Andy versus Louis, which is going to be Sunday.
Yeah, I might get the rematch against Louis. Should be a good race. Yeah, I mean, at this point, there's no free wins anymore, right? Like, I was really nervous for this run. like ever since, I don't know, like the second round already. It was like, it's just a coin flip anyway. Not really a coin flip. Like it would be like 70-30 or 60-40, but anyone can win against anyone, and you can just try to not screw up as much as possible. But hey, sometimes stuff happens, and I just hope that we're able to, like, at the end of the tourney, only have good races that don't have like Kiki skip like stuff happening or helmet deaths, and
Yeah, this one was, I mean, pretty good. It was hard to pick up on like all of the little differences where y'all were gaining and losing time on each other. Like, honestly, you probably saved time on Doom at Meyer Bomb Jump because you both went for it and you both failed it in the same way. I think you both missed the spin speed, and I think you recognized it sooner. And it's like maybe 10 or 15 frames faster to get out of that room because of that.
Yeah, I wasn't not too happy with my like video as well. The bomb jump, I just missed spin speed. I saw the dust come up, so I like that like help dash before I released the spin. But there were other small things. It was just, I don't know, nerfs really got to me, especially in the mid game, like Desert, stupid Katy Perry in the way, and then firing a fire out shot to the left when I had to like light the torches and all that. So I had to go for the 2-cycle ammo. It was all those small things that just really add up and were really frustrating. Like Feast Town as well, like throwing the bomb too high. Blah.
Yeah, I mean, even with all of that, it was a fantastic run.
I mean, I'm not going to complain, right? I mean, it's a tourney race. I can't expect to like push out a 109 in here, but like it was just nice to see that I was on pace for most of the run, and despite those little mistakes, I really put on a good show.
Yeah, I think you're reasonably close, but it comes down to the things that you can't you can't always 100% control, or you can't just do another attempt for it or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And even though I was -2 after Server Rock, I saw that I was 40 seconds ahead of Doom, if not more. So I've just thought, okay, I'll just play safe in GT, go for the old man hearts. And because -2 is not going to be enough for a PV, because I'm running against 0 blue balls, 1 warp or something. So the chance that I get that again is just so slim, and it's just, I'd rather just not die in GT.
Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't see it happening. I know when I see a really good player at -2. At that point, it's it's usually not enough.
Did your gold GT? I can't remember.
Yeah, that was against I think it was against Glan or Louis. No, I think it was Glan, where I just went for them as well, and then got 2-cycle Agate and got the 654.
Yeah, so I mean, there's still time to save there. There's always time to save in GT, right? But
yeah, for sure. Last run I did earlier today for practice, I got a 58 with a free cycle. So there's definitely more in there.
It's definitely got to feel good to know that your gold GT has old man refill.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice. Of course, the old man refill is not just to purify second time loss, right? You can be more aggressive. You can just go for stricter RMGs and not get punished as hard. You can go for better keys. You get your floor 2 is better if you can keep beams, because you can just beam the switch instead of arrow it and all that stuff. So you can definitely make up a little bit of the time that you lost.
Honestly, I think the only thing really rough in GT for you was Gauntlet 5? And then Agate 2.
Spike skip was not pretty.
Oh, right. Yeah. You got Spike skip and the skeleton was a jerk.
Yeah, on my overworld also wasn't clean, because apparently I wanted to dash down instead of hook dash down. So that was kind of weird, and then I missed the hook dash again. So the overworld was a bit sloppy, lost 2 seconds there. Spike skip wasn't that good. The rest of the basement was fine, and then G5, yeah. But it wasn't actually the problem that I didn't fire up the skeleton. You had the good RNG, but if the red Sasek walks all the way down, it doesn't matter what you do. It's just going to be really hard to keep up speed, and you can't really dash back up, because then the Beamos will see you and just push you back down. So that's really rough.
Yeah, but so I guess it was a little worse than I remembered, but still. You can't hurt the perfect cheat.
Agatha was done. Like, I had pretty rough patterns. I thought I handled them well, and then that double didn't count as a double. I was like, well, that's just how it is.
That were bogus. You hit him 6 times, and you only got 5 hits. That was... I don't understand why that 3 cycle didn't happen.
Anyway, I guess I shouldn't drag this on for too long. Thank you so much for the commentary, and hope to see you again during the next race.
Yeah, thanks for the great race. Sunday, 5 p.m. We've got 5 p.m. Eastern. We've got the other loser semis, Louis versus Andy. Also 1 p.m. that day. Winners finals, Dow versus Wayne. Which I don't know if that's getting a restream yet, but I hope it does.
Yeah, that's...
And
Yeah, we should have channel availability for that.
Nice.
The only thing is it might be on ZSR3. I'd have to talk to Trez about that, but we have some other stuff going on Sunday. So, GG's to both Eriror and Doomtap. It was a great race. It's always fun to do these. Also, thanks very much to Osder and... Is it Dow? Do you actually pronounce it like there's an O in it, or is it Dow TMB?
Almost everybody just says Dow. I don't care.
Okay. Dow, thank you very much for doing commentary. It was excellent. It was much appreciated. So as we mentioned, next match is coming up on Sunday, so it should be very hype. So thanks everyone for joining us, and we hope to see you soon. Bye.